Well, hey, good morning. My name is Jared. This is Justice's Waiting Room, a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. And
It's your bag, sir. Look at that white. Oh, you
happy
like
Tuesday, random everybody. Uh, Hope you all got a great night's sleep. I actually read. You know what I did yesterday that I don't normally do? I read a medical journal last night before I went to bed. 9 hours. That's it. 9 hours of sleep. No fucking excuses. Don't act like I didn't get on here and change my mind. You need 9 hours of sleep. Now, what this means for most people that can't sleep 9 hours a night is you're going to have to take a nap. But whether you like it or not, science says 9 hours. Congratulations, you're wrong. Okay? Look at this shit. I said science says you need 9 hours of sleep, and before I saw the first comment on TikTok, TikTok had filtered out multiple comments because they were inappropriate. What is wrong with you people? Jesus. Morning, everybody. They're Crush, Angie, Debs, Stacy, Bob, Gabby, Danielle. So be madly jealous. I just want all of you that were not there to be wildly jealous. Last night, I was streaming myself just to the Discord playing this video game called Once Human, and one of the community members' husbands downloaded the game, and they started playing the game. And then we found out that Once Human is also a mobile game. And then Stacy just popped in the comments and said her husband stayed up until 1 a.m. last night playing around. Do you know what was doing right before I went live? I was staring at that fucking nozzle on that water gathering thing, trying to figure out, like, what is the next piece? I think it's the water purifier, and you got to unlock it in the mimetic screen. We are talking like light years beyond where TikTok is right now. But yeah, for those of you, I play video games as a means of escapism. I picked this up while I was on active duty in the Marine Corps Infantry. I mean, I've been a gamer my whole life, but like a serious video gamer, somebody who really gets into shit. I get really into video games as a means to like control what you can control. You otherwise have none, right? Um, you can't really control what's going on outside your house, off your property, right? Um, but but when it comes to like video games, and we talked about it since the beginning that it's about community building, and it just so happens that Once Human is a free game, which fits my socialist vibe. There's absolutely no reason to spend money in this game. Um, it's not all PvP, which a lot of people don't like. So they're like, I'll play an MMO, but I don't want to play PvP. I don't want to kill other people. Uh, so there's PvE servers. Okay. hmm So I encourage you, even if you're not a gamer, give it a try. You got to drink water and eat and make food, and you kind of get Pokemon. And ultimately, the most dangerous thing in the entire game is this fucking butterfly that you just summon and it wipes out everything. And also, it's a tactical shooter. Think like, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid or The Division or anything Tom Clancy made. It's basically a clone of that, but you've got all kinds of things built around it that make it fucking outstanding. Like having to build an abode. Yeah. hmm So yeah, make sure if you're on TikTok, you like and comment and share, and try not to comment nonsense. Otherwise, it just gets blocked and I don't see it, and that's not well. That's not really. There's like no reason to be here, right? So shout out to my YouTube, always chatty. You are the reason I'm able to show up every day. Can you imagine sitting here and nobody's around? Like, fuck. Silicon Valley is panicking about Zohran Mamdani. Uh, yes. Yes. All these wannabe billionaires, right, don't like socialists because they think they're going to take their money. You goddamn right. Yeah. I gotta I gotta figure out how to make drinkable water. I'm also gonna do it in real life. But I love looking at like their idea for it, like the tarp over the square, the four pieces of timber with the bent railings coming down over the can. Like it I think it would work. The tarp would naturally field water into a barrel, right? And you want it completely open top. hmm And then you want a nozzle coming out the bottom, not all the way at the bottom, but like pretty much at the bottom, because you'll want your sedimentary water to sit. And then when you go to empty that, you got to empty it into a filter, so they can filter your fucking dirty water. Yeah, that's why you got to build that on the top level, and then have a level below that, so you could just have a little hose come out down into the filter and make yourself drinkable water. I think it's actually illegal in real life. Somebody told me that. Is it illegal to collect rainwater and purify your own water? I swear to God, somebody told me that on the podcast before. Okay, we have a little bit of an aviation theme on our show because I did go to Purdue for flight, um, and we talk about things like Air Canada striking. Okay, and we support that. We support the right to collectively bargain, having met a union, right? I am a union member. I joined Work in America. I encourage you to join a union. I was thinking about this the other day. Um, we are all motivated in different ways, like at work. And one of the things about, huh, it didn't take. One of the things that we will do. Sorry, hey Carlin. I want to make sure I get the Air Canada. There it is. Reach an agreement. Okay. I'm going to read a little. Air Canada and a union representing the airline's flight attendants have come to a tentative agreement ending a days-long strike that canceled thousands of flights and stranded hundreds of thousands of passengers. Flight attendants at Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge have reached a tentative agreement achieving transformational change for our industry after a historic fight to affirm our charter rights, said Hugh Pouliot. Pouliot. It's probably French. Pouliot. Pouliot, spokesman for the Canadian Union for Public Employees. CUPE, in a statement, unpaid work is over. You know what I want to do? I want to collect t-shirts from foreign unions. That'd be dope as fuck. I need a CUPE t-shirt. Somebody, find somebody in the Canadian Union for Public Employees. I need that on a t-shirt. That would be a great fucking business, Dina. Let's see what else is going on. remember this, that I told you this when it comes to what's going on in Gaza. First of all, Israel is has committed a genocide here, uh, and also Hamas is not your friend. Just throw, just throwing that out there. Like, hey, I'm sharing this article from the BBC where it says a Hamas group has accepted a tentative peace ceasefire. Um, Neither nor. Okay. Well, this is undoubtedly going to be the story of the day. The FTC is suing a ticket reseller for evading Taylor Swift Eras Tour ticket limits. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission sued ticket reseller Key Investment Group for evading purchasing limits to buy up thousands of tickets to live events, including Taylor Swift's Eras Tour, and resell them at a markup. TotalTickets.com is the name of the site. Yeah, I posted. I did you did Kara? Did you see my short this morning on YouTube? Uh, I think I said satiate their penchant for minors. Thanks for coming to my pred talk. Yeah, I hate it when they say like an unaccompanied underage woman, and it's like, you mean a kid? Yeah, what the fuck? What the fuck? Uh, and if you make a wrong turn on the fucking internet, you'll see people openly saying like 14's the new 18, and you're like, nope, nope, not at all, not at all. What the fuck am I reading? Yeah, interesting New York Times article. Interesting titling by the New York Times. It says the playbook. Okay, well, I'm just gonna click this button. So, by the way, a lot of people have wondered, like, we live in a tech era. How can we boycott places like Google? I know. You could stop using fucking Google Chrome, okay? You know what works better? Opera. I have been using Opera. Here's what happened. I'm a nerd when it comes to technology, and my computer was running really sluggish. And I found out doing some little research that Google Chrome is super heavy on your like CPU. It requires a lot of memory. Basically, Google, when you're on Google, like you have a Google tab open on your computer, it is eating up a lot of what your CPU is capable of. And so, what you'll notice when you have a Google Chrome app open, and a lot of people use two screens, right? What a lot of people don't realize is the lack of performance elsewhere when they've got a Google tab open. I noticed it because I'm a fucking nerd. And I was just like, why is that rain falling funny? And was like, that's fucked. And then I closed the fucking Google tab and the rain fell normally, and I was like, okay, the physics are normal in this game. And also, in the upper right hand corner, next to an article, everything has a paywall now, right? So absolutely every place has a paywall. Uh, on Opera, there's a button you can push for every link that I share, the reader mode, and I can just read the article and I don't have to worry about the paywall. So Uh, there's absolutely, read my lips, there's no fucking excuse. There are no excuses. If you get up every morning and watch this show and you have not gotten up into my profile on TikTok and clicked on the fucking YouTube link and gone to my YouTube channel and gotten into that YouTube chat where you can actually see the links to the stories that we're talking about. If you download Opera, and you'll notice that these links have a paywall. You can get around the paywall by clicking a button instead of having to pay for all that shit. Great article. Okay. Great article on the playbook used to prove vaccines cause autism. Do you want to know why that is true? Do you know why vaccines cause autism? Like, do you want to know why it's true? Because children, hear me out. I know there's people losing their mind, like, oh my god, Jared's losing his shit. No. Kids who get fucking vaccines might get the care they need, up to and including their diagnosis with autism. What? Thank you for coming to my fucking TED Talk. Yeah, yeah. That's why vaccines cause autism, is because when kids are actually cared for and their parents take them to the doctor and they let them get the necessary medical care that they need, they might end up getting fucking diagnosed with autism as a child. Yeah, yep. Because I can imagine it's the kids that don't go to the doctor and don't have parents that give a fuck about them, whose parents don't think, man, may be something wrong with this kid. Might need to talk to a therapist. You know what? I have a hilarious story about that as a kid who spent his life in my childhood and adulthood in therapy, so don't worry. Okay. Um, I remember when I was a little kid and some adults were fucking terrified of me because I think historically little kids little kids historically, when they're big, like the big kid in the group is the dum dum. He's typically not also the brightest crown in the box. Um, Zeke, that was the thought process. Was like, you know why vaccines cause autism, and everybody does the collective head smack, like, oh fuck, and it's like, yeah, because the kids that get vaccines, they are getting the necessary medical care that they need. Yeah, up to and including like a fucking diagnosis with autism. Yeah, you know when kids find out they're autistic nowadays is after the mass murder. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about, like what? Why don't we just do that when they're a little kid and they can't stop beating the shit out of their neighbor's mailbox? I don't know. I don't fucking know. When I was a little kid, there was an awful lot of kids lighting shit on fire and not enough kids in therapy. You know what I'm saying? I saw an awful lot. Hey, let me tell you a story without naming names, cause fuck that. The valedictorian in my high school and the salutatorian. That's the number one and two in my graduating class, have both been in prison, I'm pretty sure. One of them stole a fucking Escalade, filled it with drugs and money, and fled the country. Dead ass. That's, hey, hey, Mooresville High School, class of 2002, baby. Don't ever forget it. Okay. Now, the guy in second place, he committed arson on his best friend, the guy that was the valedictorian. Yeah. Yeah. Number one and two. Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah, that's a true fucking story. Both of those things are fucking true. Yeah. The way it worked was like the one kid's mom had this wagon in the yard and she decorated it like thematically. Right? You know what I'm talking about? Moms do that shit. They'll get like a little mound of fucking uh clearly I'm not a gardener. A mound of mulch, right? And then they'll set like a wagon on that, and then they'll put a bale of hay on that, and then they'll put some pumpkins on that. And I'm literally making up your yard design for your Halloween. You're welcome. But like when I in the '90s, you pull into the street, and they live next door to each other. Okay. Oh, there was divorce happened. These kids were not allowed to be friends. I your boy was friends with neither. Trust neither. They're fucking anarchists. Um, I would see them out, and every time I'd see them out, I'd start like, "Where the fuck is the other one?" Like, "Why are you here?" Oh, you remember the story about the only party I went to in high school, like with my classmates? Remember the story about how the fucking cops came and a bunch of people got in trouble? The valedictorian threw a box of fireworks onto a bonfire. That's why the cops got called, because those kids were fucking insane people. Also, brilliant people. Like the smartest kids. Uh huh. Number one and two in my class. Yup. They were best friends, and they were not allowed to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Like their parents forbade them. When I ran into one of their little brothers when they were adults, and I was like shaking their fucking hands, how you doing? And you know what? Their brother Stone looked me dead in the eye and said, "Just trying to live a normal life, man." Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. I grew up around some wild children. Now, I will tell everyone that I also had the second highest SAT score, ACT scores in our classes. So, yeah. I had a 4.0 until my senior year, and then I slipped. I had a 3.86 after my first semester senior year, but 9/11 had happened. You got to fucking take it easy. And don't be so harsh on me. The second half of my senior year, the itis just, oh, it got a hold of me. There's nothing I could do. I was demotivated. I had already been accepted to Purdue. You know what I mean? And in fact, I had decided that I was going like within a week of graduation too, for obvious reasons. Now that we've just had that class, now that we just had that conversation about my valedictorian and salutatorian, how they were literally forbidden from being friends. And I don't know either of them as adults because obvious, for very fucking obvious reasons. Crush said we had a prom mom the year before my graduating class. So I remember when we were freshmen, we were all sitting on the bleachers and we talked about as a class, let's not fuck this up. No one has a baby before we grad 21. 10% of the girls in my graduating class. I think there was like 200 girls in my graduating class. That's a lie. Yeah, there were in the beginning we were like 50-50. But by the end, my freshman year there were 600 freshmen. My senior year there were 264 kids actually graduated. Kids drop out. Mostly kids are violent and anti-authority. If you grew up in public school, there's almost a fucking way you want to be a teacher. Because it was a goddamn zoo. Speaking of a goddamn zoo, Gavin Newsom is surging in the 2028 presidential poll because why the fuck not? You know what I'm saying? Maybe he becomes a socialist. See, everybody's like, "Yay, Gavin Newsom," and I'm like, "Can I get some policy out of you before it's all done?" Jesus fucking Christ! And people wonder why I'm like, I'm a socialist, right? These people aren't interested in democracy. Are you fist fucking me, Gavin Newsom? I liked AOC. Although Gavin Newsom AOC would be a pretty dope ticket. I'm just gonna keep saying it until he comes out with some policy. Okay. Ooh, Nevada is dying, yo. Hey, I'm letting you all know now. Okay, I'm every man. Okay, I'm the guy that they send all over the world. It's too fucking hot in Nevada. That shit is not sustainable. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Like, if you've ever been to Las Vegas, you're just like, why is this here? Why is this here? You know what I mean? Like, if you've never been to Las Vegas and you go and you get to Las Vegas, you be like, why the fuck is this here? Why isn't this in a place with better weather? Who the fuck wanted to put a first of all, I know why they put it in the middle of the fucking desert because they don't want you outside trying to enjoy nature because you'll fucking die because it's not survivable. And people want to extend the ratty comments about Nevada and Las Vegas to New Mexico, and that's not how it works. New Mexico's a little different. Yeah. Hey, Atlas, you want to talk about Erie, Atlantic City? Go to Atlantic City. It's like a ghost town. It was like a ghost town 20 years ago. All these places. Hey, when you destroy the middle class, this is what you get. You ain't got nobody with a little bit of coin to throw around no more. Yeah, stupid fucking hot. And that's what I mean. It's stupid hot in Las Vegas. Everything about Las Vegas I love, except they don't want you to be outside. It's hot enough to die. So, like, you have to be inside. Like, I think that's the most interaction I've ever gotten on a post on social media is before my wife and I got married, we went to Las Vegas. And at midnight, we did the thing where you post on social media that you're at the Little White Chapel in Las Vegas, and we're like, LOL, surprise, right? Pretending that we got married and shit, because that's like what people do when they go to Las Vegas or whatever. We did it by an officiant, downtown Indianapolis. Uh huh. But yeah, we gagged everybody like, haha, we eloped and none of you were here. Like what? Taylor's sister really wanted to be there. Dubs. Yes. So that's my um thought. Yeah, they want you inside gambling. Yes, Gabby. Uh, the whole thing about I know this sounds lame, but this is how I did it. I can play any game. I can have fun playing any game. But it's about the view. What am I looking at? So, what I found, because I play poker, what I'd found is I want to look at the jackpot screen. Because what they do is they'll say if you get a royal flush or four of a kind aces or four kind I think it's four of a kind aces, queen kicker or higher, or four of a kind kings, queen or higher kicker, uh, wins a jackpot. And so you generally want to like sit facing it. But if there ain't no jackpot screen, you want to sit where you can look around and see everybody. Because you got to realize if you're any good at poker, you should only be seeing the flop like, I don't know, less than 2 out of every 10 hands. So most pots you're not in. If you know what the fuck you're doing. I've mucked good hands because I'm like fourth to act with pocket nines, late, fold, the fuck, raise, 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 no, and then of course hit nine and just giggle and still lose. Stacy said, I had fun when I went. I got drunk though and told off my boss. Luckily, he still had a job. Hmm. Yeah. All those places are just. I mean, and that's going to be the South, for the record. You know, a lot of people want to talk about like climate change. How is it going to impact us? It's going to make a lot of places that you used to vacation not vacationable anymore. The fuck? But yeah, it's Tuesday. They are calling into. Steve said they saw melting trash cans in Phoenix. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. Was it the blue trash cans just fucking melting and shit? It's insane. I don't know what to make of this. The damn alcoholic slushies. Yeah, that's what we did when we were down there. Is we found a place that had a drinks that we liked, and we just went there. We did the same thing when we went to Hogwarts in Florida. Uh, I'm abusing the shit out of whatever it's supposed to be called, but we stayed at this little resort, and between walking but getting off the little transportation from the resort to the thing, walking it, there was a vendor that made, just like he's talking about, the alcoholic slushies. Those shits will fuck you up for $9. Mm-hmm. I remember because he was like, they're blended with rum, and it's like four flavors in a single thing. And you're just like, what? And he's like, yeah, if you pull your straw up, you can actually taste the different flavors. You're like, oh, yes, Universal. Universal Studios. I just call it a fucking Hogwarts. I love my wife, so like I had absolutely no idea what was going on because it's not like it was Star Wars. So we went to fucking Hogwarts. I could go there every day and just people are just infatuated with this. Hmm. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, let me tell you though, and I wish my wife were here. We so badly wanted to booze when it came to Harry Potter, and we were so fucking disappointed. The butter beer, it wasn't beer. It's like, think of it like root beer. That's what they did with it. And they did have a bar, like a Hogwarts bar with like, I know I'm crushing people's dreams right now. Um, they they had alcohol, like they had Harry Potter themed alcohol, but there wasn't no butter beer, like a real butter. Like I was explaining, like I'm a alcoholic. You have all kinds of opportunity here. Like, like I was explaining, I was bitching about her son that doesn't do shit at work. Like, why you working help in a vet clinic? He's supposed to help hold animals. Oh, it's butterscotch. Yeah, it's like a butterscotch root beer. Hmm. It's so the kids can drink it, guys. It's not because they're lame. I mean, they're lame, but like, and then they had like all these other shits. And my wife was like, "We're just gonna get trashed in the basement of Hogwarts." Like, yeah, but yeah, butterbeer couldn't do it, like as an alcoholic beverage. Yeah, just a. It would be sweet if they did. We're talking about Donald Trump's undoing the student debt plan. I don't understand why the president is saying that he only. What? Deb said, "Ooh, the butterbeer was nasty. I knew it was non-alcoholic, but I didn't like it. I went 3 years ago." Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it was just non-alcoholic. They didn't have an alcoholic option, and then like they had other themed beverages. And as soon as you would take a drink of something, you'd just be like, "Yeah, but butterbeer? Like this was the most obvious." Fuck. And I get it. They didn't want kids drinking. Hey, good morning, Hugo. They didn't want little kids drinking beer and shit. Which is like whatever. Aren't people drinking and partying in Harry Potter? Here's prospect.org on the economy. Exactly, Ugo. That's what I'm saying. Like there should have just been like an adult option. We talked to the bartenders and every one of them just like lost all of their energy. They were like, "Fuck, you're right. You're right." Like there should have been a cuz you got to realize most of the people that come in there are not dinks, right? My wife in heaven as a result, me in also heaven cuz I was just like she's actually happy for once. Like fucking let her run. Yeah. Cappy said you have to know a guy to get the alcoholic butter beer, but you can get it by the Smith guy. Well, that fucking sucks. Now I have to take my wife back. Now, I hope you ain't lying. I'm gonna get all the way there. I don't think they had it when we went because we were at we. I mean, we were having a good time. We went to Green Gots. We went to what's the like the evil store? I can never remember what it's. Diagon Alley. Yeah, I mean we were probably 2016. Oh, ooh, me casually just snatching bugs out of the air and shit. I think we should all go to Hogwarts before the world goes to shit. Epcot drink around the world is better if you're looking to drink. Yeah, I just, I'm just not. You know what I mean? Although that can all change. You know, if they have Le Fin de Monde on tap, I'm dead. It's just it has been decided. Like Zombie Dust. It's a Three Floyds, the same people that make Gumball Head. Zombie Dust. If they have Zombie Dust on tap, I'm dead. DED dead. Yeah. Hmm. I know my wife would go. Because I want to go to the Star Wars thing. I'm a nut Star Wars fan. By the way, I don't know if you saw my video on YouTube, so we're going to do it on the pod. Look what Dina made. Rage Against the Regime. Isn't that awesome? One of my community members made me t-shirts. 3 of them. And she's gonna keep making them. I hope she builds a business. Look, look. Rage Against the Regime. Isn't that awesome? That's awesome, right? Yeah, but I ain't going nowhere, and I want to go somewhere in the fall. You know what I mean? I want to go down when it's gonna be like 70 degrees, 73 degrees. You know. Thinking I should make a blueberry beatbox slushy. I think you should make. Yeah, I mean, what time is it? Actually, it doesn't even matter. It's none of my goddamn business. One of the things that I've decided that I'll never fucking do in my life is I will never be upset at the time of day that someone else starts drinking. You get what I'm saying? Never, never fucking judging. Um, the guys did not drink like that when I was on active duty. You'd get in trouble. Um, they drank after though. Uh, One of the things that we did while I was on active duty is that if you could get out of your clothes, if you could change over and get a beer in your hand and beer in you, they can't make you keep working. Yeah. Oh, you're already in civvies and you already got beer in your system. Son of a bitch. You're basically done, right? Bob's. See, Debs, I'm telling you, you got to tell us how much you got in each shirt, and we'll help you build a business. Yeah, one of the things I've decided as an adult that I will not do is I'm not going to be like, oh, it's too early for you to drink alcohol. What? First of all, I do not champion alcoholism. I'm not cheerleading that shit. So, what I've decided is if you need a little bit of hooch to get you through it, within reason, my friend, within reason. Shit, when I was growing up, my mom um, got her nails done by this Yugoslavian immigrant woman that didn't hardly speak any fucking English, and that woman drank whiskey neat. Like I'd go in there. It'd be before 11 a.m. on a fucking weekday, and is that is that a Scotch whiskey? Mm-mm. It's just like people that say it's too early in the day to light a cigarette, too early in the day to drink, too early in the day to eat red meat, all that shit. It's like you are gonna die. Did you know that? Okay. As long as you've settled with that, I don't give a fuck. If you gotta drink booster breakfast, don't give a shit. Mm-mm. It'll tear your stomach up if you're doing it on an empty stomach. And then if you have to eat so that you can drink alcohol, it's like you're doing an awful lot of work. That's alcoholism. You know what I mean? You do got to do what you got to do. Yeah. I'm not. Alcohol is absolutely not the answer, right? Cigarettes aren't the answer. I have quit both of those things, and I'm adamant that you are just throwing your money away. But I feel like I say that all day, every day, right? You're not saving. We're throwing all our money away. Bob said I miss my Jameson. Though, here's what I think. Because I'm a Maker's Mark guy. Okay, I gotta have my I gotta have maple syrup in my whiskey. Um, I will only drink to celebrate. That's how I do it now. There's no drinking for no reason. We only drink to celebrate. Hmm. But like I said, I believe the Bible says, "Judge not, let you be judged first. Let he who lives in a glass house not throw stones." Um, but my wife is a Jameson drinker. Hmm. And you know what we learned? Jameson and Maker's Mark don't mix. Mm-mm. We had to stop that shit. Yeah, drink to celebrate, which means there ain't a lot to celebrate. We ain't drinking much. I drank, for example, when the Indiana Pacers made it to the NBA Finals this past summer. That was the first time I drank, and I drank the games that they won or that I felt like they were gonna win. I drank to enjoy and not care about the outcome. Um, I didn't drink Game 7 because like I didn't feel Hallie got hurt so early and he was playing so good that you were like, if he just like stays on the floor, they wax their shit. And then he goes down with the Achilles, and you're like, oh fuck. Now it's a dogfight, and then it became a nail biter, right? And then you're just sitting there dreading. I'm not trying to drink alcohol while I'm dreading shit. That was one of the things. He said can't do it at all anymore. My walk-in's bad enough. That's hilarious. I think it's hilarious that you're in a wheelchair and a stoner. That's what the fuck did you need a wheelchair for? You just couch. You know what I mean? Yeah, being day drunk, the only problem with being day drunk is if you have kids. Jesus Christ, man. Yo, you know the guy that shot up the CDC? He can still move with his couch if he's couch locked. Yes. Well, it's my day off, and I don't drink. I don't day drink. That doesn't mean I'm not capable of it. Aw, Trump suddenly stopped typing everything in all fucking caps. I wonder what happened that he abandoned all caps. What happened? What, the president started using punctuation? What the fuck? Hey, it's funny. Like I told you, this regime can be defeated via meme, right? Like it's Oh, you don't like it fucking trolled? What? That's so wild, bro, because that's like all you do. Talk about a fucking snowflake. That shit is too rich. Like, this motherfucker. You got bullied and punked by Gavin Newsom to the point where you had to like change your fucking delivery. That shit is not going over well. Because now that Gavin Newsom's like copying your steez, now Donald's looking at it like, I can't keep doing that. Like, is he doing a better me? Nobody does a better me than me. Like, oh. And for the record, I think Gavin Newsom is a fucking menace, and also showing you exactly the energy you need. Mm-hmm. That shit fucking works. This regime can die from a meme. These men are fragile. If you listen to me, if some person out there wants to make $1 billion, okay, you can make the plush toy for the right and call it Gummy the Bear and make it look like Charlie Kirk, and it's just him, just all gums, and just with that big ass grape, and you make it into a stuffed doll, and it's just a comfort toy. That's just, and it's just Gummy the Bear, and it's a bear that's like all gums. Mm-hmm. Yep. Or some shit. I mean, obviously the Gummy the Bear is probably not the best idea. I was just going with it, you know. But yeah, these people, like, they absolutely will unalive you. They will kidnap you and traffic you to foreign countries, and they don't give a shit if you're an American or not. Okay? But if you make fun of them, they fucking melt. What? If you just shit on them constantly, they like shit. You know, Grandma's Boy. You know what I'm talking about? That they're the guy. They're the bad guy from Grandma's Boy. What was that fucking turd's name? JP. Joel David Moore. It's a fucking great movie if you have not seen that. If you have not seen Grandma's Boy, Special Boys. Hmm. But you make sure you keep your sense of humor. What in the actual fuck is going on in Texas? Texas Democrat representative remains locked inside House chamber after not signing slip for a DPS escort. Did you know you can't and do that to somebody legally? You cannot like entrap someone. You can't like what? What is happening? How are they allowed to do that? Top Gum. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These people are fucking bananas, yo. Hey, again, under normal circumstances, I'm anti pew pew. Good to go. Schmunch violence is not a good problem solving solution. Mm. Which, like, so what keeps them from just, like, getting on an airplane? Department of Public Services and be like, you can't do that? The fuck? As an elected official, you're not allowed to leave your state because you're being required to vote to pass this bill. What? Again, like I said, yeah, you can't hold someone against their will. Yeah, what the fuck? If she allowed herself to be held, that's stupid. I would be like, this is illegal as hell. What the fuck is wrong with you people? Every millisecond I'm in here is fucking illegal. And also, not every diplomacy can't solve everything, right? I don't. Here's an interesting name. Ketamine Queen. To plead guilty in Matthew Perry's death, Jasveen Sangha will plead guilty to several federal drug charges. A California woman known as the Ketamine Queen. She's 42. Hey, I'm 42. That's crazy. There was a fucking drug dealer in California. The Ketamine Queen. Look at this. Look at these fucking turds. 4 a.m. rage tweet about mail-in voting. I just want to make sure that we say Russia has mail-in voting, and Donald Trump came away from his meeting with Vladimir Putin and was like, if we eliminate mail-in voting, or Democrats won't win shit. And Donald Trump votes via mail-in vote. Make sure that you are registered to vote, that you check your registration regularly. Mm-hmm. Hey, here's the problem with the President of the United States deploying the National Guard to Washington, D.C., and states agreeing to send National Guardsmen to Washington, D.C. Who do you think is in the National Guard? I want to make sure we talk about this as a community. Who do you think is in the Natty? I'll tell you. Your EMTs, firefighters, and police. Spoiled it for you. So when a governor says, I'll send hundreds of National Guardsmen to Washington, D.C., what are you doing? You're taking police officers, firefighters, and EMTs off your streets and you're sending them to D.C., and you're making your streets less safe. And there are 4 Republican states that have sent troops to D.C. All those states have high crime, comparatively. And remember, there are Republican leadership in states that have declined to do this and said, no, we're not contributing to this. And so remember when I told you this is, it feels like a soft invasion. It's just there aren't that many traveling Russians. You know what I mean? There aren't that many people. You know, they're starving and poor, just like we are. There's something to keep in mind through all of this. The only difference is that like something like 70% of Russians actively hate us and want to kill us. Um, in the United States, we're just taught that you you know we're not necessarily preempting anything anymore, but like if they lash out, then we'll respond. But like otherwise, I don't have ill will for an also starving populace on the other side of the planet that somehow thinks we're evil and that they're not. Okay. Yeah, the National Guard is the police, fire, EMTs, hospital workers. So when you send them out of state, you're probably taking the principled people away, the ethical people away, the consistent people away that show up every day with a great deal of energy and effort and are there for everybody. Nah, you take those people, you send them to Washington D.C. and you break their fucking spirit. That's what they're doing. Someone made a point back in June. He wanted folks to visit D.C. for his birthday parade, and now it's just full of crime and it's the worst place ever. I want to point that out. That yeah, it's true. Donald Trump did try to host a parade for himself. He sat there looking pretty fucking miserable. Hmm. And then all of a sudden, like DC's a shithole. Yeah. You know how I know Washington D.C. is a shithole? Look at the White House. Look at that gaudy trash, right? Gold accents everywhere. I seen them outside the White House. There's like this gold accent over a door. Trash. That just looks fucking stupid. Hmm. Yep. I've never thought about the fact that I hope they just burn it, rebuild it when he leaves. You're probably gonna have to because of the bugs. India and China envoys discuss border peace and trade to boost cooperation. A Maine police officer arrested by immigration authorities has agreed to voluntarily leave the country. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE arrested Old Orchard Beach Police Department Reserve Officer Jean-Luc Evans of Jamaica. Understand that he was legally allowed to work in the United States. What is busking? Oh, I didn't know what that word meant. A Navy veteran that got shot in the chest survived. 68 years old Harold Powell, Navy veteran. 32-year-old Gregory Tim walked up to him, accused him of stolen valor, which is falsely claiming to have served in the military. Stolen valor is not falsely claiming to have served, it's falsely claiming that you did some shit in the military. Nobody gives a fuck if you're lying about whether you served or not, because those are things that are you can verify that. But largely, what happens while you're on active duty isn't written word, and therefore is subject to your willingness and ability to fucking lie about it. That's attempted murder. It's fucking crazy though. Oh hey, remember when they tell you like the 2020 election was stolen and all this shit? Conservative network Newsmax agrees to pay $67 million in a defamation case over bogus 2020 election claims. So I know it's not Donald Trump paying, right? I know it's not Donald Trump paying. By the way, the Sudanese army is torturing people to death. Wow, scores of mass graves. I wonder who did it. Hmm. Hmm. We're done with the news. Let's look at politics. I think you're done there too. Huh? Thanks, Bobby. You tell him. Hell yeah, Elise Stefanik got booed off stage in a. Hell yeah. And she did not take it well. Look at the look on her face. See, this is what I've been saying. These people, they expire due to shame. Shame them. Name and shame. That's the name of the game. Just call them out. Call them out for it. What have you learned? What have you learned from Gavin Newsom? Use the same energy against them. Hmm. Hmm. And you know it's lying, right? You know this is a lie, right? Hey, y'all know this is a lie, right? Here's ICE. Here's Home Department of Homeland Security, right? August 12th. So what's today? Is it 1 week ago today? 1 week ago today. Okay. You know, you know how the I can tell when you're lying when you repeat the lie over and over and over. Okay? I'm going to read the first 200 fucking words of this article, including the title. And you tell me what the lie is. Ready? ICE receives 100,000 applications from Americans who want to help remove murderers, gang members, and pedophiles and terrorists from the U.S. Release date August 12th, 2025. In less than 2 weeks, ICE received 100,000 applications. Washington. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement ICE today announced it has officially received over 100,000 applications from patriotic Americans who want to join ICE and help remove the worst of the worst criminal illegal aliens from the United States. Just so you know, they didn't receive 100,000 fucking real applications. That's for sure. Hmm. Yeah. The age old, if you, it's not a lie if you just repeat it over and over again. Oh shit. Jack White said the Oval Office looks like a professional wrestler's. Oh, who knew? Arlo, America is better than any TV series. Yeah, real life shit. DHS speechwriter linked to hateful social accounts while claiming American conservatives are ostracized like Jews in Nazi Germany. Oh, he's unfuckable. Eric Lindrum. That's the problem. Here's Crown Prince. Yeah, Beck. At least you know. Discord's a place to be. Beck, there's a link. And there's the Minister of Finance. So you ever wondered what these evil motherfuckers look like? Here it is, right here. Sorry. Thank God the links don't show up anymore. That's we all leave there, we all flock there, yeah. So, there he is, right there. Bezalel Smotrich. Julie Rodriguez, consultant, fire harassed for the worst fuck up of a campaign. Millions of funds still owe money afterwards, right? And remember, one of the things about mail in voting is they can't change your vote. That's why. When you vote on a machine, they can change your vote when it comes into the machine. That's why they want to get rid of mail in voting. But again, I want to point out that Gavin Newsom got Donald Trump to stop using all caps in a week. He force changed his behavior. Without violence, no threats, he just said fight fire with fire. And I want to point out that the most successful uh, like campaign against Donald Trump led by a Latino woman. Just want to point out, I've been saying this for a while. Gavin Newsom's social media manager is a fucking genius. It's a 29-year-old Latino woman. Don't ever forget it. Mm-hmm. Don't ever forget it. Whooping that ass. Donald Trump is getting absolutely fucking destroyed on the internet by like a millennial. Mm-hmm. Gen Z. She's 29. So it means she born 96. Is that right? Is that on the? I don't remember. When did the generations break? Um, generations by year. 81 to 96. She's a millennial. Yeah. Yeah. So make sure we get get plenty of rest. 9 hours. A study recently came out said 9 hours of sleep to be fully rested. You know who gets 9 hours of sleep? My wife. Hmm. Yeah, I looked up the generations by year. 81 to 96 is a millennial. I was born in 83. Yeah. Yeah, didn't he tell his people to use mail-in ballots? Yeah. Yep. And so that anybody that voted by hand in this election, you see, one of the things I noticed right after the election that I was like, "Oh, this sucks." So after you vote, you can't go back and look at your ballot to make sure it didn't change. You can't see it. I think you should be able to check your ballot. Hmm. And as we started, we probably need a nap, Gabs. If anything, if you feel yourself getting tired during the day, you probably need a nap. Eat right, exercise, hydrate, all that shit. I'm up before the sun running the dogs. Oh, and also, as somebody who has not been on TikTok for years, as somebody that's a relatively new content creator, uh, I just want to point out that people that are just now shocked by the restriction of your free speech, that shit's hilarious to me. That's hilarious. Been censored everywhere as long as I can remember. They've been censoring people. The internet ain't where it started. Here's a little link to YouTube to a post from the Election Truth Alliance. And yes, power disco naps. Hell yeah. Listen, when I take break, Jared, do you believe it's possible we are nearing the bombshell about ETA and the tabulation case? I fucking hope so. Ron. I fucking hope so. Jesus Christ. Um, so much validation for your boy is vindication. You know, because there's a lot of people like, oh, you're fucking crazy, and a lot of me has been like, I'm just talking about the math, ain't mathin', right? That's all I'm saying. Like, and I'm gonna be proven right over time. Hmm. Yep. And I absolutely know. And I never had a shadow of a doubt. I listen. Let me explain this to you. I got a 96% in the last finite mathematics class I took at Purdue University. Do you understand? That's a 400 level math class. The tippy tip top of the maths, I'm like on top of that shit, looking down, going, anybody else? Because I know what I'm doing. So when the election happened, and I was like, oh, they cooked the books. That's readily apparent. Why? Because numbers do not act uniformly. So I'm telling you this so that you can repeat it. Numbers do not behave uniformly. Data does not move uniformly. Therefore, when you look at a picture of the United States and it has an arrow pointing to the right at 2.5% every state, that's cooking the books. right there. hmm The entire country, state by state, on average, leaned right 2.5%. In my eyes, that was them telling you what they did. hmm Oh, and also I want to continue to point out how people have been crying, we'll never have elections again, and we won't have fair elections, and it looks like Democrats have won every fucking election that has happened since election day, except for like a one in Florida. So I don't really know what the fuck you're talking about. So it looks like Democrats wiped the fucking floor, and Donald Trump only cares about himself. Just pointing that out. hmm and no, Donald Trump can't stop elections because of a war. The president of the United States does not have the power to stop elections. Appreciate you, right, Ron. But yeah, take care of each other, take care of yourselves. Nobody's gonna do that for you. The White House is sending social media teams with the FBI to get some footage while they arrest people because they're going to be arresting some high profile people. Oh, you know what's not being said? You know what's not being said? Huh. You know what mainstream media is not saying? There are massive protests in Israel. Huh. That's crazy. The largest demonstration since the start of the war. Protesters demanding an end to the fighting in Gaza and a release of the hostages held by Hamas. Holy shit! Look at this picture. I mean, hey, and they're getting fucked with by the police hard over there. And I think they have it worse everywhere else, man. I see them fucking beating up, dragging people, uh shooting them with non-lethal rounds. Obviously there's the video of the IDF, you know, a woman um yeah, here's where Donald Trump pushed for mail-in voting ahead of his election. 60 Minutes Australia on Trump and Epstein from the Internet Archives. For the record, if you are on uh, TikTok and you hear me read like a headline and you're like, wait, where'd that fucking story go? TikTok won't let me post links in the comments of my own live. And I do. I do it out of force of habit. Every time I post a link to the YouTube chat, I also post it to TikTok. For whatever reason, TikTok won't let you see those links. So hey, if I'm you and you ever hear me say something and you're like, damn, I kind of want to read that story. I want to watch that 60 Minutes Australia about Trump and fucking Epstein. Um, you can just go up to my profile and click on that YouTube link and go over and watch this show on YouTube. and then you can have access to all of the links. And I try to use good links. You'll see a lot of Reuters, a lot of AP, a lot of BBC, a lot of Guardian and Independent, a lot of independent journalists that have boots on the ground that can show you pictures and stuff, so that you feel like you're actually still connected to the news. That's one of the things that when I was a kid, I didn't feel very connected to the news. I think it's because the Challenger exploded on live television when I was 5, and my parents didn't want to watch the news after that, and then they just let me play video games for years, and never really sat around and watched the news and talked about what was going on in the world after that. And I think a lot of people, um, I've said for a long time that we just see more than we should. We hear more than we should. We know more than we should. Um, and I think that as we are in this great technological age. Uh, we are more capable of being more in tune with what's going on in the world than ever, and we've never been farther apart. Yeah, welcome to YouTube if you decide to come over. There are easily a growing audience over there every day, and a growing community. hmm we're playing video games together. We're about to go play after I feed the dogs. I'm gonna play some Once Human. But anyway, about that time. Been here a little over 90 minutes. It's my day off. I'm a little slower to move on my day off. Heavy flooding in northwest Indiana after overnight storms. So my Indiana folk that aren't at all part of the show, or part of the community. The weather hitting close to home. Heavy flooding in northwest Indiana. By the way, beautiful black and Latino women working for CBS Chicago. Good to see it. Last thing I want to see is white cis males, right? I just want to point this out. This is part of the problem that we have as a people. Okay. Later, Aaron. Okay. Look, look. Before you go, this post on Reddit. I don't talk shit about people much often, and I'm not targeting the individual, so I don't really care. Read their post. I love what people at the Election Truth Alliance are doing, full stop. That said, I'm surprised and a bit disheartened by the pace of their updates recently. It's been months since their PA analysis, and it took months to get that together after initial Nevada release. I noticed during an interview with Nathan that his data dashboard had what looked to be like 10, 15 states on it. I work in data and statistics, so I know that it can be challenging and getting it right is crucial. However, speed does seem like a major factor here. So, what this person is completely oblivious to is danger. End of the show. Like, this person is completely oblivious to danger. They do not understand at all how shit works. Finn,